Hey guys, Steph here, and today we're going to talk about your New Year business plan, which is so crazy to even think about. I can't believe that the New Year is here, but if we haven't met yet, hi, my name is Steph Blake. I help women start their online businesses and then scale them to reach multiple six figures in the online space. If we haven't connected on Instagram yet, go ahead and follow me, say hi, send me a DM. My handle is The Blake Collective. All of that is linked below for easy access as well. So, like I said, I can't believe that the new year is already here. It's insanity. But now is the perfect time to start creating your plan and mapping out those goals so that you can actually implement them when January 1st or 2nd arrives if you take New Year's Day off like me. And by planning these things in advance instead of starting on January 1st, you're already going to know what you're going to work on, right? So it just makes the whole process as easy as possible. So I wanted to share a couple of different tips that you can implement so you can make this process easy for you too, right? So tip number one, don't become too overwhelmed with the planning process. And again, it's so important to not get overwhelmed with this process. You don't have to have every single detail mapped out for the year. And I don't recommend looking more than like 90 days, maybe 120 days. So 1 to 2 quarters in advance. You really don't want to plan out much more than that unless you're some like massive corporation. But I know the majority of people I'm speaking to are small business owners, and you don't need anything beyond that, right? You want to make sure that you're setting projections for the year as a whole. But when it comes to planning specific things out for like launches you're going to do in Q1 or Q2, you don't need all of the details outlined, right? My preference is 90 days, and I created another video that shows how to plan out 90 days. You can go back and watch that. But yeah, 90 days is a really good length of time just in case something crazy comes up, right? We want to make sure that we have time to adjust and pivot if we need to. Tip number two is determine your revenue goal for the year. So now that you've taken a deep breath, I want you to focus on outlining your revenue goal for the next year. So grab a piece of paper, write your goal at the top. Maybe you want to make six figures. This is going to be your first six-figure year. Or maybe you want to make $500,000, or maybe you want to make $50,000. Whatever that is, write it at the top, divide it by 12, and then you're going to have the monthly figure that you need in order to reach that annual goal. So, for example, if you want to reach $100,000, the monthly amount you need is about $8,300, and that's before any taxes or anything. So that's just like the flat number that you need. And then from there, once you have that number, we want to look at your current rates and we want to figure out how many clients you're actually going to need to reach that monthly goal. So, for example, if your clients are $1,000 a month, you're going to need 8 new or recurring clients every month in order to get to that point. Okay. And this is one of the best ways to put into perspective how easy it is to actually scale your business, especially when you're working with high ticket clients, like what I teach my own clients how to do inside of my program, Six Figure Service. We show you how to have a really robust company that serves your clients really well without you having to do all of the work, right? It's all about scaling to multiple six figures with and working less than 20 hours a week. Frankly, that's what our goal is for every single person in our Six Figure Service program. If you want to learn more about that, the links are below for you as well. All right, tip number three is to map out how to actually reach your goals. So you have the number that you want to reach, you have this beautiful number, and then we're going to map out 1 quarter at a time. Now, before we get started, go ahead and block off any personal or vacation time that you need. So, for example, if you know that you're going on vacation in May, you probably don't want to schedule any big projects during that time, right? So, we're just going to block that out. We're not doing anything in May. We're going to take some time off. Next, I want you to outline any of your big launch dates so you can see what's coming up down the road and prepare effectively, right? And eventually you're going to have repeatable systems for your launches so that you can just repeat what you've done every time. But if this is your first time actually planning a launch in your business, that's totally fine. We're going to start from square one. So maybe you want to launch once a quarter. So pick a date in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Or maybe you want to launch something once a month, right? So whatever that looks like for you. All right. The next step you want to do is to plan your pre-launch content, like your social media posts, all of your email ideas, and you want these to start at least 4 weeks before you open the cart. So you want to start like teasing this content and saying that it's coming before you actually say, hey, it's here, it's available, right? Now, you don't need to have a full content outline at this point. You don't have to do that. Just have the days that you're going to post that content. So for example, if you're launching something on January 15th, maybe you want to post some like 8 different posts from January 1st to January 15th. And you're going to outline the days. Like on January 2nd, I'm going to post this. On January 5th, I'm going to send this email. That's all you have to do. You don't need to create all of the content yet. Now, when you are creating these, I always create my content inside of ClickUp. So I use ClickUp Docs, and then we also use the list view to make sure that everything is organized really, really well. And it just makes everything so easy to do. Love ClickUp. I'll put a link for that as well if you have not checked out ClickUp yet, because it is my favorite project management tool, and I will probably do a video about it at some point. Not sure. But all right. And then finally, let's add in any dates throughout the year for any projects that you want to work with. So if you know you're going to update your website, if you're going to take brand photos, if you're going to create a course, if you're going to launch a podcast, put those dates in there as well. And again, you don't have to have specific dates right now. We're just trying to get like a rough estimate of what's going to happen throughout the year. And then we're going to start backward, right? We're going to start at our whatever that goal is, and we're just going to work backward, right? So we talked about this with, like, for example, for a launch, we're going to figure out what our launch date is, what our cart open date is. Then we're just going to go backwards, and we're going to say, all right, this is the content that we need for the first couple of days. This is the content for the days after that. And if you've never launched anything before and this is really confusing to you, don't worry. This is what I help my clients with inside of Six Figure Service. I teach you how to launch even as a service provider. So launching is not just for coaches or courses or any of that. You can launch as a service provider. And this is one of the things that we teach our clients how to do. All right, so tip number, I think we're on tip number 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, tip number 4, start keeping track of your revenue and your expenses right now. So now you have your year roughly outlined, right? Let's look at these upcoming expenses and revenue that you have coming in. So you likely have something coming in for the next year. If you have clients that you're working with right now, so if you're working with retainer clients, you know that you're going to be working with them in January, February, March, so on. So we want to get an idea of what that looks like now so that we can start projecting our revenue in advance. And I like to keep a really detailed spreadsheet. It has the client name, payment date, all of that, so that I have a really clear overview of what this looks like. And I highly suggest that you do the same thing. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I just use a Google Sheet. I have like one column that says like name, date of purchase, or like the renewing dollar amount, and then when they're ending, so that I know in January I'm making this much, February, March, and I already know what I'm making at the end of next year already, just based on that sheet, which makes things really easy. And this also makes things like your software really easy to project too. So for example, if you're using a tool like ClickUp or Dubsado, you can switch to an annual plan instead and save some money. So instead of doing like the monthly payment plan. So if you have tools that you use every single month and you know that you will continue to use them every single month, it makes sense if you are able to sign up for the annual option so that you can save some money. And by being able to track all of your revenue and your expenses, you're going to know that you actually have more money than you thought you did to account for those annual payments of those systems. So I hope that this was helpful to actually set realistic goals for your business over the next year. Again, we go into this in way more detail inside of my program, Six Figure Service. So there is no fee or obligation or anything to apply. Plus, I'm going to send you a free training, so you really have nothing to lose. You can find the link to that below. You can also go to sixfigureservice.com. And as a reminder, if you're not familiar with this program, it is my exclusive high touch program where I show my clients how to transition from stressed out service providers to confident CEOs, where they are working less than 20 hours a week and making way more than they ever thought was possible in their business. So again, all of the details for that are below, and I hope that this training was helpful for you guys.